What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Brian Mello with Marty's Buick GMC and Chevrolet, and in today's video, we'll be discussing Ford's move to sell direct to consumers, what that means for dealerships, and will General Motors follow suit? Now, if you're new to the channel or maybe you're just coming back for more, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I upload fresh General Motors related news and content every single week, so if that's something that you're into, be sure to tune in. Now let's get into it. All right, so this is a story that I've been following for a little while now, and it might just be the biggest automotive-related news story in the last few years. And no, I'm not exaggerating, because things are changing, and they're changing a lot faster than I thought.
We're announcing one of the largest transformations in the global automotive business, full stop.
For those who haven't heard yet, on March 2nd, Ford Motor Company announced that they would be restructuring into two new divisions. The first will be the formation of a new business called Ford Model e, a business that would be dedicated solely to Ford EV development and connectivity, while the second, Ford Blue, will continue with the internal combustion side of things. Now, Ford says that although these two divisions will be run as distinct individual businesses, which is very important, and you'll find out why in a second, they will also support each other. An example of this given by Car and Driver was that Ford Blue vehicles will utilize software and technology that's developed by Ford Model e, which obviously makes sense. But there's a bigger reason why Ford is making this move, in my opinion, and that's the direct-to-consumer business model. Because what Ford wants to do is have a specified number of current dealers opt into the new Model e platform. And then Model e dealers will not hold any inventory. And instead, they would simply facilitate the delivery of online orders. And there would be no price negotiations. And it's pretty much about as close as we can get right now to a direct-to-consumer structure without just removing dealerships altogether. Ford actually released a press release that said, quote, Ford Model e will lead on creating an exciting new shopping, buying, and ownership experience for its future electric vehicle customers that includes simple, intuitive e-commerce platforms, transparent pricing, and personalized customer support from Ford ambassadors. Now, for Ford to execute this successfully, they'll need some of their dealerships to get on board. Otherwise, they'll need to figure out a different path because there are still long-established state franchise laws that prohibit direct sales by manufacturers to consumers, laws that many people feel at this point have become antiquated. However, it is possible that Ford is only creating the Ford Model e company in order to get around those laws and prior franchise agreements that are already in place for the current company. Recently, I'm sure some of you have had experience with, the pre-ordering or the reservation way of buying a new vehicle, and it's becoming more and more common. GM for the first time ever took reservations on the new Sierra. We saw reservations for the new Hummer EV and the Silverado EV. And GM CEO Mary Barra has already said that the days of dealerships being just packed with inventory are over. So much of this makes sense, at least as far as manufacturers looking to restructure the old ways of doing business. I'm sure GM and other manufacturers will soon be looking to pivot this way as well. But ditching dealerships completely and moving to a complete direct-to-consumer structure in the United States might not be as perfect an idea as everyone thinks it is. Now, I know this will probably sound quite biased as someone who works for a dealer group, but whenever I hear someone say, look, we just need to get rid of dealerships, we need to buy direct from the manufacturer, just get rid of them, I usually laugh. Obviously, the reason most people think that way is due to the buying process, the negotiation, the paperwork, etc. And look, as a consumer and as someone who's bought plenty of vehicles, I get the frustrations. I really do. But I also think that much of the pain in buying a new vehicle, in many cases, in fact, I'd say in most cases, is self-inflicted. But we'll save to why I think that is in a separate video. Because there's a bigger problem, in my opinion, when it comes to just getting rid of dealerships altogether. And it's one that I don't think really anyone takes into consideration or takes the time to even think that far ahead. Because most consumers are just concerned with getting a better deal. And if they think that buying direct will do that, well, then they're all on board. And once again, as a consumer, I get it. But what if I told you that by getting rid of dealerships, it's very possible that your local community would feel, in many cases, a pretty big hit? Let me explain. And I'm going to use my dealership as an example for this because obviously I have firsthand experience that I can share. In the last 12 months, my dealership has donated thousands of pounds of food to our local food bank, and we do it every single year. We've sponsored our local baseball teams. We've bought them new equipment. We've sponsored our local soccer teams, our public schools. We helped raise money to fund the new breast cancer center that's currently being built in our local town. We helped fund our local sailing school. We actually gave away a Silverado to our local hospital last month. We continue to be a big part of our local women's shelter, our local veterans outreach center. We help support To the Moon and Back, an organization dedicated to help children born with drug addictions. We fund numerous fairs and outdoor events every single year. In fact, I remember one year the town of Plymouth actually didn't have the money for a fireworks display on July 4th. So we paid for it. We bought the local high school new stadium lights for their football field. We sponsored the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, which supports family of fallen American heroes. My point is, and I could continue this list for as long as I wanted this video to go on, if there's an event or a cause in our local area, we try to help in any way that we can. And without us, that all goes away. Because chances are, let's be honest, the manufacturers aren't really going to care all that much about the local community that isn't their local community. Believe it or not, dealerships give back more to their communities than any other industry or profession. And honestly, I don't think they ever get the recognition for it. Now, granted, there's plenty of things not to like about them as well, but I think a lot of this stuff that they do just kind of goes by the wayside. And it's just never really acknowledged. People don't really think about it. Now, in addition to the philanthropy, what about all the jobs? In addition to the 100 direct employees that we have, what about the landscapers that maintain the property? The detailing shop that cleans all our vehicles, the local newspaper. We know newspapers are struggling, but you know what? We still continue to place ads with them and work with them regularly. The transport companies we use to move all our vehicles around, the auto traders, cars.com, car gurus, etc., that are all funded by dealerships and all of their employees. The dealership-specific software companies, and I can think of 5 just off the top of my head that we use, and without dealers to service, well, they serve no purpose. We pay a small business to do our vehicle lettering, little one-man show, comes around, puts all the, the sale and the numbers on our vehicles. Nice guy. We pay a company to wash our windows. We pay a company that cleans our building every night. We pay a dealer-specific marketing companies, a few of those guys, the local IT company that we use, the photographers we hire to shoot our inventory photos. The list literally goes on and on and on. In fact, as of 2018 in the United States, there were more than 1.1 million direct jobs inside the dealerships and an additional 1.18 million jobs in industries that service and do business with those dealerships. But, let's just get rid of them, right? We got to save an extra $1,000 on our new car. Maybe I'm biased, but I think that when people just want to get rid of dealerships in an effort to make, maybe the buying process a little smoother, I don't think they think about everything else that comes along with it. But let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. I'd be interested to hear your feedback on this subject. After all, I've looked into this for quite a while. I've been in the industry for a long time, and I do know that it's going to evolve and things are going to change. And I do think there needs to be some changes in order to help the buying process move along and make it a better experience for everybody. And a lot of that just comes down to working with the dealerships and being a little bit more reasonable. But I'm going to make a video on how I think people should buy a vehicle in 2022 and the way to do it so it's easy, so you're not at the dealership all day and night, so that you're not fighting and arguing and then it becomes a pain. It should be a lot more fun than I think it is for most people. But as always, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Once again, leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole thing. If you made it this far into the video, if you could do me a solid by just smashing that like button. Helps me out in a huge way, keeps the YouTube algorithm gods happy, gets more eyes on my video. Hopefully I can help more people. Subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out my friends over at gmpartsdepartment.com for all your GM OEM parts needs. If you are in the Massachusetts or New England area and you're in need of a truck or a Hummer EV reservation and you want to make sure that you do not ever pay over MSRP, check me out, martysbuickgmc.com or martys-chevy.com. More than happy to help you guys out. You will never, ever pay over MSRP. Thanks again for watching. Take care.